Welcome to episode 2. We bring you today's edition from the Cleaver House. Today, we're learning on testing new ideas. But before we start the discussion, we get into town to ask people's opinion about how they know a business idea is good enough. Stay tuned as we test new ideas and listen to people's opinion about testing good business ideas.
I believe that the art of following or the art of copying is how you have a very good business idea, or how your business idea will survive. So if you are starting a restaurant chain, if you are starting sports industry, something, entertainment, showbiz, music, whatever, it's copying from those who came before you. That will help you to have like a solid foundation to move forward, so that in the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, your business will still be around, because whatever that you are doing now, somebody did it before. There's really nothing new under the sun.
How do you come up with that? I think that idea is going to come from you, the individual, because I can't say go and do food when you're not interested in food, or go and do tourism when you have no clue what the whole business is about. So at the end of the day, it has to be dependent on you, the individual. Once you decide that that's what I'm going to do, like my sister's doing hair and I like hair so much, so I patronize and I advertise for them. So once you decide that that's what you're going to do, then, because at the end of the day, if I push you to go and do food and you don't have the passion for it, it's going to collapse. Yeah.
For me, there's no definite answer to such a question. It's really about an individual's market research, because what we see around is, or you see another person's business idea and people just latch onto it and copy and reproduce the same thing. But I think for effectiveness and for sustainability, one has to take individual market research very seriously. That's, I think, one thing that's missing in the Ghanaian landscape. We don't see enough of that. We don't see enough effort having gone into individual market research. So I think for me, that's one way to look at it. Yes.
So there are 4 things we'll talk about today in testing a business idea. To come to a place where you know a business idea is good enough, we will subject ourselves to 4 tests. The first test is business need. To understand business needs, Abraham Maslow may have taught us what the hierarchy of human needs are, and we all may have studied that in the course of our education. But we may not have connected it to the sense of how to build a business. And so stay with me. The first level of businesses, or the primary sense of business, is businesses that provide physiological needs. And so talk about food industry. So food is a basic necessity. And so the whole industry of food is built around providing the basic need of human behavior. And so if you're thinking of any idea, the very first thing to subject yourself to is the need. Understand that the basic need sits at the bottom, but you have shelter. And so you find all the construction industries sitting on top of that hierarchy, which is the shelter. You move on to intimacy and love and friendship, and you understand that the social media, for example, would thrive on the need for social connections. And then you find higher levels like learning, which would provide people with self-actualization and the demand to know and to be self-actualized. Now, the first thing we're saying is that once you have a business idea, subject it to a business need. What is the need the business provides? What is the business need of your business? And so subject the business need to that basic principle of the need theory. And once you understand the need your business is providing, then perhaps you have a business idea. So the first test we're saying to any business idea you come up with is subjected to the need test. Understand the business need your solution or your business provides. Now the second one is the economic test. The economic test. And so the first one is the need test, the second one is the economic test. We say economics because every business should be sustainable to outlive itself. And so if I have a business that is not sustainable, then I am sure that the business would only survive to a certain point. There are three economic models I would want to share with you. We are pretty familiar with one of them in our context, which is a Ponzi scheme. Now, a Ponzi scheme is that the expectation of a payout is greater than the expectation of an inflow. Let me break it down. And so if I have a business and I am sure that 20,000 will go out of the business in the next 1 year, but I cannot be sure how much would come in into the business, and so my payout exceeds my inflow, then I am running a Ponzi. I am robbing Peter to pay Paul. That business model, unless you have enough money to pay out everybody or you have enough capital to outrun all the expenses, it is not a recommended economic business model. The second business model is a speculative business. Now, it's a business for which the likelihood of generating income is about the same as the likelihood of the payout. And so Ponzi schemes, we know. But the speculative business is a business that, say, give or take, you're taking the risks. And so the chances that people would buy that product, in your own estimation, it's almost close to the fact that you'll be able to cover your cost and then make some profit, or at least break even. That is a speculative business. Now, a sustainable business is that, for example, I build houses and I already have a defined market. I know that there are 20,000 people or 10,000 people ready to take that land. I have contracts with them already. And so when I start a business and I'm specifically building houses for these people who have already paid me money, I know that these businesses is sustainable. And so sustainable businesses are business for which you know the cash flows, and you know that at any point in time you can be able to pay your outflows from your inflows. Then it's sustainable. So for any business, understand the economics so that at least you know that it is not a business for income, but you're running a charity or anything of that sort, so that your customers have expectation that they are not running into a Ponzi scheme. And disclose your economics. If it's a free business, tell people, I am not here, for example, to give you interest because the interest is not sustainable, and so I'm running a business that is not sustainable. Now, once the economics of your business is understood, then you know the business structure and culture to put in place, which we shall discuss in subsequent episodes. Now, the third test, we said we were going to talk about four things. The first we said is subject your business idea to a need test. Then the third thing we said is subject it to an economic test. The third thing we say is subject it to a psychological test. Usually we don't like to know how people feel about our product. And so I'll give you an example. The mobile phone as a product, it is not a product for which we have a rational reaction to necessarily. The statistics says that the average person unlocks his phone 22 times in a day. Now, whether or not they have a call, they have an impulse to unlock it. Now, 22 times is a certain need for attention. And so the phone product has connected to a certain psychological need of humans. And so the product has a psychological inkling. It gets our attention even before we give it one rationally. Now the question is, does your product give to thinking, or it gives to a certain emotional connection? So give your product a certain brand, a certain look. Ask yourself if your product gives a certain emotional connection by which you build loyalty with your base customers. Now the final test we will subject ourselves to is the opportunity test. So the first we said is a need test. The second we said is an economic test. The third we said is a psychological test. And the final thing we're saying is that subject the business to an opportunity test. In opportunity, we say two things. The very first one we're saying is the knowledge and the contacts. Do you have the knowledge and the enough contact to build the basic market and at least the know-how to run the business through its challenging phases, at least to start until it picks up? Now, knowledge and contact is the opportunity you must ask yourself. Do I have enough know-how to run this business? Do I know enough people who will at least be my first customer? And the second bit of opportunity is we talk about the technology and the equipment. Do you have the technology to run the business? Do you have the facility? Do you have enough resource to start the business? That's the opportunity. And so first, understand the need your business is solving. Second, understand the economic dynamics of your business. The third thing we're saying is that understand the psychological or emotional connection your product or your business would have with its customers. And the final thing we said is understand the opportunities within the scope of your business. Now we all remember po, whichever it is, to tell us negative, positive. Now the test we have just said is a NEPO test. NEPO, NEPO test, which is to say need, economic, psychological, and opportunity test. And so if you forget everything, remember NEPO means something, and it means that test your idea by considering the need, consider the economics, consider the psychology, and consider the opportunity of your business. Now a quote from Winston Churchill to end, which says that no business idea is so outlandish that it should not be pursued with a searching but a steady mind at the same time. My name is Yasumpa and I have been your learning partner. Stay tuned for the next episode where we bag this new idea. Bless you.